Hello friends, welcome to Shauna Stitches. I'm Shauna and this is my crafty podcast where I talk about all the things that I've been working on lately. This is episode number 74 and today is June the 18th, 2023. It also happens to be Father's Day, so if you are a father or have a father, I hope you're celebrating them and having a fantastic day. You can find links down below to everywhere you can find me, which is Instagram and Ravelry, and also links to all of my project pages for things that I talk about today. And that will, of course, link you to all my projects on Ravelry, which includes both knitting, crochet, and spinning. If you have any questions for me that I don't answer or that isn't on my linked page, then please just ask below. I do love all of your comments. Before we get into the Knitty stuff, I have an exciting announcement to make. At least it's exciting to me. I am about to be celebrating my 7-year podcast anniversary. My very first episode was uploaded on June 25th, 2016, which is just crazy to think about. I have no idea how the last 7 years have passed by so quickly, and yet so much has happened all at the same time. For that, I think I'm going to go ahead and do a giveaway. The winner will be announced on the next episode, and what I'll have you do to enter is to comment down below. Make sure you use the word anniversary to be filtered into the comments that will be eligible to win, and leave me a comment about what you like about the podcast, other things you'd like to see, maybe what could be better or different, or just leave me a comment and let me know what your thoughts are. I appreciate all of you that have stuck with me from the very beginning, or if you joined in the middle, or you're just joining me today. It's really wonderful to have you here. And although I won't say my enthusiasm, but my time for the podcast has switched depending on what's been going on in the rest of my life. And so that has meant that some years I have uploaded much more than other years. But I'm glad that you're still here, and the reason I'm still here is because of the wonderful community that we have gathered here, and I enjoy all the comments and having that dialogue with you all. So thank you. I would not post these if nobody watched. So yes, please leave me a comment. Like I said, use the word anniversary and you'll be entered to win. I will announce the winner on the next episode. Okay, I think the next thing we'll talk about is finished objects. If you didn't notice, I am wearing one. If you happen to watch the latest episode of State of the Stash, I was wearing this as well, and I will talk a little bit more about it here since I really just mentioned how much yarn I used in the other. So I'm sitting on the floor. I didn't mention I am in not really a new space. I'm still in my craft room / guest room / all the things room, and I use this spot for my State of the Stash, and I feel like it's just an easy spot for me. I don't have to do a lot of rearranging of furniture. The setup is pretty easy, and for me, the easier it is, the more likely I am to do it. So for the time being, I think this is my spot. It's a little strange, I know, but this is craft related. It is a dresser, but I have plenty of crafting supplies in there, and you can see some of my yarn, and then I have like storage here. So the background may change a little. Hopefully I can make it look a little nicer. That's what we have for now, and it's working. Back to the Fosette crop. This is a pattern by Devin of Knitty McPurly. You can find the pattern on her website. And it is a color work and slip stitch and baubles. I don't know if you can see. Can you see the baubles? That's a bauble. The pink ones are baubles. It's a lot of fun to knit, and it really flew off my needles. Let me sort of kneel because I'm sitting on the floor here, and hopefully you can see the whole thing. There we go. See, if I sit back on my feet, you can't see my head, but you can see the sweater at least. So you'll notice I did not make this cropped. If it were cropped, it'd probably be about right here. And one thing I did do, the only thing I did to adjust the pattern, is that I knit the 39-inch bust, which is perfect. I think I have about a 37 and a half inch bust, and if I was just doing this cropped, this size would have fit perfectly. But when I got to the smallest portion of my waist, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, I added in some increases here. Well, just in the gray area. And I did that so that I could go from the 39 to the next biggest size. So I can't remember what that number was now. I think it was 20 stitches to increase. And so I evenly increased those about once every inch. I would do an increase and got up to the next pattern size, which meant that I could do the color work at the bottom seamlessly without having to fudge the design or anything like that. I did knit the gray helical knitting. Let me kneel up again a little bit. I think it really helped sort of even out the color. And what else to say about this? I was able to make this long version in my size with just 4 skeins of DK weight yarn. Here are my yarns. So the gray, as I said, I did use 2 skeins of that, and I alternated using helical knitting. And this is called foil wrapper. I should say these are all candy skein yarn per skeins. That is my local yarn store in Astoria, Oregon. This color here is called Rose Water. And the final color is Boysenberry Jam. So I had that much left. If I remember right, it's roughly, I want to say it's 50 grams, but now I'm second guessing myself. It seems like more in my hands than 50 grams, but 4 skeins is plenty. Obviously, I could have done a size up. The pattern only calls for 3 skeins, so I would have only got one of the gray for the crop version, but obviously we've already discussed why I made that bigger. So having those increases helped widen the pattern for my hips since I wasn't doing this a crop version, and I really like the way that fits. My least favorite body part is my stomach, so for sure I do not want anything tight right there because I will be too self-conscious to wear it. I haven't worn this out and about like in public yet, but I feel like it's very wearable. I like it, and I would have no issues wearing it in public. I still sort of have reservations sometimes about wearing my hand knits in public. Not because I don't think that they look good, but I just feel, I don't know, I feel weird in them. I'm not sure why. It's one of those things that I have to get over. I think that's all I have to say about this. If I were going to reknit it, I would do everything exactly the same, but I would add a few rows here and then add the ribbing just to make a little bit longer sleeve. I didn't mention, but check out this sunburn. It's on my neck too. You can probably see. I was out in the sun for like 2 hours the other day, unexpectedly, and I think I don't handle the sun as well as I used to when I was younger. Okay, moving on to the next finished object. My next FO, see if I can get it to focus. Come on. These are the Segue socks, and these were knit as the qualifier for Super Sock World Championship. That's currently going on. Registration's closed. So if you are interested, you would have to join next year. But it's similar to Sock Madness in that you're knitting socks, but it is way less pressure. There's no pressure to be eliminated if you don't finish fast enough. You can, as long as you knit the qualifier, you can actually opt out certain rounds, which I haven't done yet, but so far I'm liking it. I did enjoy Sock Madness as well, but this is kind of a more relaxing break. So this was the high octane pattern. They have what they call high octane, which is the harder pattern, and then they have low octane, which is a easier pattern. And I will say there were some challenges to this. I'm trying to remember now if it was knit cuff down or toe. Nope, these were toe up for sure. Right? Yes, they were toe up. So one of the things, or one of the reasons I think that this was a quote unquote high octane pattern is because the pattern, oh, come on. It was more vaguely written than a lot I have knit in the past. It definitely did not hold your hand. And so, for instance, the toe portion, it just said increase evenly until you have so many stitches. So, usually it'll say like round 1, you're going to do an increase round and then you're going to knit around, and it just expected you to know that. The other thing that I found very difficult was that depending on how long your foot was, what row of the chart you were on, is how you would start the heel portion. And so everyone's heel looked different because it was starting in a different spot. And so that, again, they couldn't write that out for every possibility. I don't remember how many rows this chart was, but maybe it was 24. It was quite a few. So they could not write out 24 possibilities. That would be insane. So you had to figure it out. And I definitely ripped back on this sock. I used lifelines. It was challenging. If you didn't notice, there are a lot of cables and slip stitches. I think, yeah, the toe is what shows the pattern best. This might not have been the best yarn for this pattern, but it shows up okay in this darker area. The yarn is Knit Picks Chroma Twist Fingering in the color Red Velvet, and they no longer make this yarn anymore. Kind of a bummer because I do enjoy it. So you see the two socks are similar but different. And I think Knit Picks did themselves a disservice by pulling this yarn line because, as I said, it's discontinued. They do have other versions of Chroma, but not sock versions because the other Chroma is untwisted, meaning there's no plies, it's just a single ply, and it would not be good for socks. But the reason I say that they sort of missed their opportunity by discontinuing this when they did is because, obviously not this color because this is more muted, but some of the colors have a wide range of variation, and it looks a lot like hand spun. So as we know, there are so many patterns that use spin cycle and other hand spun looking yarns that I feel like this would fly off the shelves now, but they discontinued it, so it's not an option. The only other thing I have to say about these is that they turned out too big for me. The good thing about that is they should fit my mother-in-law perfectly, and she's very knit worthy. She loves socks, and the more intricate they are, the more impressed she is. She really enjoys that. So I'll be giving these to her or sending them to her more likely because I don't have any plans on seeing her anytime soon. All right, that's it for finished objects. Now we have works in progress. My sock blockers are going to have to do a little wardrobe change. All right, so this is actually a half finished object. This is my June Desert Vista Dyeworks color that I chose, and there's a close-up for you. The color is called Arizona Landscape. And this is what the skein of yarn looks like. Really pretty. Actually, something that is not usual for me. My favorite color in this sock is the green here, right by my pointer finger, if it will focus. And I love it because of all those blue speckles in there. It's so pretty. So you notice there's actually two different greens. There's this one, and then there's this one, which is more limey without the speckles. And the sock really does remind me of my time recently in Sedona, Arizona, where my in-laws live. You have the orange and red of the rocks, the blue sky, and the green for cactuses, of course. Okay, yeah, So I have started the second one, but it is literally just started. Nothing fantastic. I think we're just barely past the cuff. And look at this little stitch marker I had. It's a cactus, or at least a succulent. I don't know if it's a true cactus, but it was close enough for me. So I need to finish the second sock before the end of June. But what has been occupying my time is the round 1 Super Sock World Championship sock. For this one, I have chosen the low octane because the thought of doing 2 high octanes in a row, especially with everything going on right now, which I will talk about in a minute, just did not sound feasible. So here is the round 1 sock, and this color, this pattern is called, repeat after me. Here's a close-up. So this is all mosaic knitting and all knitting, other than a little bit on the heel turn. So that has been fairly fast. I have never seen a gusset like this before, and that was a bit challenging to figure out because, as you can see, the patterning continues down the heel, and then you have this gusset on each side. So different construction than I've ever done. I'm sure someone out there has probably done something like that before, but it's new to me. After I figured that part out, the rest has been smooth sailing, and bonus, this one fits. And I was on the cuff of this morning, and I think I have like 3 repeats to go. So my goal is to get this finished by the end of today. Fingers crossed. The yarn that I'm using are both from the old Knit Crate subscription, which doesn't exist anymore. My first color is called Wisteria, and my second color is called Slip. This one's kind of strange. It's between like a gray and a blue, and it's, I don't know. I think the two go together really well though. So what else do I want to say about that? I think we have till the 29th to get these submitted, and I don't quite understand how the point structure works yet. You get a lot of points if you finish in the top 3, but you still get some points if you finish after that, as long as you finish within the 14 days. And yes, I think our last day is the 29th. But the reason I want to get those finished today is because we are leaving tomorrow to go on a road trip to Colorado. Something like, I don't know, 1,300 miles and 5 states. It's a lot of driving. I always forget to mention at the beginning, but I live on the Oregon coast, as far west as you can get without being in Alaska or Hawaii, in the United States anyway. And so I want to finish those so that I don't have to bring sock blockers. And the other thing that you have to use for these, which I just cut these out of a placemat, is you have to have these flat sock blockers as well, because you have to do a front and a back view as well as the side view. So regular sock blockers work for those side views, but they do not work for this front and back. So yeah, so they have to be photographed like this and like this, and then of course on the regular sock blockers. Let's see, what else? I do have another new project that I started, but it's one of the many scrappy projects that I have going, and no due date. It may never get done. But here's a stack of 16 different Battenberg squares, which is crochet. If you didn't know, crochet was the first fiber art that I really learned. I don't think, do you count cross stitch as a fiber art? I've actually been doing cross stitch since I was in like 2nd grade, but crochet was the first yarn hobby that I really got into. So I think this pattern is by Sandra Paul, who is Cherry Heart. Battenberg blanket, which is very popular. And I'm just using little bits of scraps. I have been putting some squares into my Cozy Memories blanket. So some of these, like after I do the Cozy Memories square, then I will do, come on, then I'll do one of these. And some of these are just from my leftover bin. I can't figure out why the top keeps getting blurry. Oh my goodness. Cinematic mode is killing me. One interesting thing, I won't show you all of these. Let me see. Look at the difference in size. These are knit with both with fingering, both with the exact same hook. And this little purple one on top is so much smaller. I'm hoping that with blocking and once it's all connected, then it won't be too obvious. I may have some that just aren't going to work though, but there's only like 2 or maybe 3 that are extra small, and I don't know why that is. The other thing that I have sort of on my radar is also crochet. I don't know, I'm getting like a reinsurgence of crochet mojo, but I do have to be really careful because if I crochet too much, it kills my wrists. I get horrible, not carpal tunnel. What is it? I can't think. Tendonitis. That's what I get. I've actually had to have a cortisone shot put in this tendon right here. Holy cow, that hurts so bad. But if I crochet too much, not only does it hurt my wrist, it will actually go up my arm into my elbow. Very unpleasant. I can find that I do it, if I just do a little bit, I'm okay. So that being said, there is a new crochet blanket that's coming out. It's by the same designer as my absolute most favorite crochet project in the whole entire world. That is the Sophie's Universe blanket. I'm going to butcher her name. It's like Dedri Uys. I don't know how you say that. I think it's a different language than English. So it probably is pronounced completely different than it looks, but that's my best guess. I will link it down below. I think it's called, is it Maya's Garden or something like that? It has a floral motif. It's beautiful, colorful, and I will actually put a picture of my Sophie's Universe that I made for a friend. I did that one all in cream. It's so classic. She still loves it, and I would like to do another one of those someday, but it was a labor of love. So I'm going to do this one, which is actually written for fingering weight yarn and cotton, which I don't plan on using either of those. But I still have quite a substantial stash of acrylic yarn from when I did crochet all the time, because it's strange to me. Crochet, it's very commonplace and standard practice to use a lot of acrylic, but then when you come over into the knitting world, suddenly, like, forget it. Nobody wants to use acrylic at all. Well, rarely. So I still have a lot left, and I have weeded it out over the years, and I've kept some of my favorites. I think I should have mostly enough, although I haven't weighed or measured quantities, but I am using DK weight instead of fingering. So that means my blanket will be extra big, which is awesome. This one is formatted similar to how Sophie's Universe was when it first came out. It's not really a mystery, but it's a weekly knit along where a portion of the pattern will come out for 1 week. You work on that. And then if you're caught up with the pattern, and the next week, second week comes out, then you do that portion. And of course, it doesn't matter if you get behind. So I don't plan that I will probably be keeping up, but it starts June 26th. As far as I know, it's a free pattern. It showed up on the Ravelry page and didn't have any pay information, and was just like you could put add to library, and then on the 26th the first clue will come out. So if you enjoy crochet, this one doesn't look nearly as involved as Sophie's Universe, although there will be portions of it put together. So some sort of joining technique, I don't know what, because I haven't seen the pattern yet. And I think that this would be a good adventurous beginner Now that's just me talking because, like I said, I haven't seen the pattern. I don't know, but it doesn't look like it uses really intricate stitches. Also, Dedri, which her brand name, I guess you will, if you want to call it that, is called Look at What I Made. And she does really great photo tutorials. She may even do video tutorials. But I just remember that Sophie's Universe, gosh, when did I knit that? Or knit that? When did I crochet that? Probably like 2014 or so, 2015. And I just remember she really held our hand. So if we're talking that was like 8-ish years ago, I can only imagine that, you know, with technology and stuff, it's probably going to be even more covered. Does that make sense? I don't know. Hopefully it does. I think my legs are starting to fall asleep now, so I'm probably done. I can't think. I still have to figure out what projects to bring on our trip. I still have to pack. And we're going to leave early tomorrow morning, so I'm going to try and get the sock done. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to join my giveaway for a pattern. Did I say what the prize was going to be? A pattern of $10 or less is going to be the prize for my 7-year podiversary giveaway. Use the word anniversary in your comment and let me know what can be better. Any tips for improvements, things that you want to see, things that you don't want to see. I would love to hear it all. All right. Thank you so much. I will talk to you all soon. Bye.